really see this being flattering on anyone. I feel like it's actually really good coverage on the top. They just have me looking like a child. This is one of the cutest swim skirts I've seen. These straps 100% feel like an afterthought. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today we're reviewing the new POPFLEX Swim Collection. And if you're wondering, Catherine, what took you so long to film this video? Well, before we get into the review, I had major problems with my order this launch. Not just me. It wasn't like a they lost my order thing, but I go onto the website as soon as this launches. All over their social media, they're like, new swim collection launched, just launched. So I go on the website, almost everything is a pre-order. And let's say it was just like one pair of bottoms running behind, like, you know, okay, fine. I'm okay if that's a pre-order, or like everything sells out and they do like a pre-order after that. Those are circumstances where I understand a pre-order. But when I tell you I only got 2 of my items within a week, and then I waited 3 weeks for the rest of my pieces to come, I am currently filming this a month out from when I placed my order because it took that long to get me my pieces. And I just don't understand why everything was pre-order. There was like no explanation. It was just like, all of these pieces will be pre-order. I just feel like if almost your entire collection isn't in your warehouse, like, should we be pre-ordering that? Again, it would be different if it was just one piece, but it was literally almost my entire order. Alas, we finally have the pieces. It does make you just like a little bit less excited about things when you have to wait like 3 weeks for the entire order. Anyways, I'm not gonna let that experience taint my review because I do think this is a super cute collection. I've been reviewing POPFLEX Swim for like, I think this is my 3rd year reviewing POPFLEX Swim, and I feel like they normally have a very unique but cohesive swim collection. So I feel like everything just really goes together, and they have a lot of really cute designs. Honestly, POPFLEX is generally not my style for a lot of things. I love certain pieces from them, but a lot of the designs just don't really like fit with what I like. But I do feel like they really have a good niche in the activewear and swim space. So we have some cute tankinis today. Tankinis are supposed to be back. I'm very excited for the tankini. And then they also brought a little swim dress and a swim skirt that like gives you a little modesty without looking like really awkward. Like, they look very cute. So fingers crossed. I was upset to see that they didn't have different cup sizes in the swimwear this year. Last year they had at least one top and a one piece that came in like an A to B cup, a C to D cup, and a double D cup. And I just thought that was so great because so much swim, like swimwear is basically bras. So I feel like it should come in different cup sizes. So I was bummed to see that this collection, they did not have that. So hopefully if these pieces do well, they can expand to that. But without further ado, let's get into the video. And as always on all of my swimwear videos, I like to remind the girlies to give the video a thumbs up to push the algorithm in the right direction, if you know what I mean, because this is a swimwear review. So let's get into it. I got basically everything in a size small, which is what I wear in their activewear. And we are starting out with the Tidepool Tankini. The lilac color was definitely one of my favorites in this collection. And we have to start with the Tankini because first of all, this didn't sell out, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought this would be very popular. So this top was $49. Most of their swimwear this year is made of this textured, almost ribbed fabric. It's a little different. It has like 2 layers of regular ribbing and then 1 line of like wavy ribbing. Here's a close-up of the fabric. I actually love ribbed swimwear and has some good stretch to it. The material is an 89% nylon, 11% spandex. I'm also still getting my filming situation situated. So let me know if you like this background. Every time I choose a room in any house for filming, it always ends up being the hottest room in the house. And I feel like my AC vent doesn't work in here and I'm getting heat stress. So wish me luck that I can figure that out. Anyways, we have this strapless with this kind of baby doll flirty shape. I've been a baby doll hater on this channel and I still am a baby doll hater. It's just not my style, but I do think it makes sense for a swim top like this. Will I like it for me personally? Maybe not, but I do think it's a cute idea for what this is. We have this ring in the middle. You don't really see any of the actual color. We also have a halter neck tie, and they also like to line the inside of their swimsuits with this more traditional swim material that has a little bit more of a silky feel, and it also has a little palm tree design. And this top does have removable cups, and it also has their signature nip cushion layer. So their nip cushion layer is something they put in a lot of their tops. I'm actually wearing a Blogilates top right now, and this one says it has a nip cushion layer, but it's a little bit thinner. So basically, if you don't want to wear the cup pads, it still provides a little layer of protection. For me, it does nothing for my headlights. They're still on when they're on, like you'll still see them. But anyways, let's try this on. Okay, new filming direction, plain wall. What do we think? Let me know if we liked this or the closets in the background, because I'm just testing out new filming angles. I feel like this is a little bit boring. Perhaps I can get like a lamp or something over there. I don't know. Open to suggestions. Anyways, we have the Tankini. Very surprised on the fit of this. I feel like it's actually really good coverage on the top. I would say medium to full coverage. Forgot to mention there is a little silicone lining along the top, which is nice, helps it stay in place. This one is not adjustable or anything, and I will say I think it runs a little bit big. So for me, I'm happy in my normal size. size, but if you're a smaller cup size, I think sizing down would be a good idea. I like that we have the addition of these little straps just to give a little bit more support. I think a little strap like this, it's a normal thing to have on a swimsuit, but just nice that it gives a little bit more support, just knowing that it won't slide down. I think the cup pads in there are great. I really like this material. This is definitely my favorite material launching. And then I also like that it's kind of like open in the front here. I will say, I just don't think baby doll is the shape for me personally. For me, anything loose in the midsection is just not gonna be my choice because it just hides like the leanest part of me. Like I like to define my waist, not kind of cover it up like this, but everyone has different body types, so it's good to have different options. I also like that it has this like inverted V shape. And then in the back, very simple, we do have the strap with the gold metal hardware, and it also actually goes like all the way over the glutes a little bit in the back. So pretty good coverage. I feel like this would stay put pretty well. It's basically strapless, so the support is low to medium, but I think this piece is really well done, and I do feel like this material in specific would hold up better to water than some of the other materials. All right, the next piece I got is the Sunny String Ultra Cheeky Bikini Bottoms. I have reviewed some of their other bikini bottoms before, and they didn't do too many new bottoms. I don't know if this is a new bottom or not, but they kind of kept the bottom designs just in this different fabric. Side note, I'm kind of surprised that there's no hygiene liner in this. I feel like there should be a hygiene liner. Interesting, but they do try to offer a good range of bottoms with different levels of coverage. I do feel like it's kind of just like cheeky, slightly less cheeky, and then full boy short, which we'll see. I have the boy shorts next. So I definitely feel like that's an area where brands can just do like a more full coverage bikini bottom without it being a short. Like try to still have a high leg, but just like a little more cheek coverage. But I will say I went on to shop like maybe like a couple days after the launch, and these were pretty picked over. So it seems like the girlies, they wanted the cheeky bottoms. So I actually got a size medium because the size small was sold out. Again, the cheeky bottoms were popular, but I figured they're just a string tie bikini, so not a big deal. We have a classic bikini shape in the front. Looks like decently wide coverage at the bottom, which is nice. That same ribbed material that the top was in. And then the back has a little V back as well as a little scrunch detail. This is the one time where I don't totally mind an actual scrunch detail because it kind of prevents the diaper look that certain bikini bottoms can have. And then just a look at the seams on the swimsuit. I like that they kind of pushed the seam more inwards so it doesn't lie right along the edge. So I do like having a seam at the edge of my swimsuits because the seamless ones, they roll instantly. So I prefer having the seam, but I like that it's kind of pushed inwards so that maybe you don't get digging in like right along the edge. So I feel like that's a nice touch. Let's try them on. Okay. Gonna do my best with these bottoms here because the tankini does cover up most of it, but I have the medium in the bottoms. And again, they are adjustable, so I think that sizing is pretty flexible here. They're definitely a low rise. Personally, I don't love for low rise, but I prefer more of like maybe a mid rise on the bottoms, but I am okay with it. They call them a high hip. I would say they adjust to the hips here, so they still give me a little bit of a high cut leg line, but they're not like ultra high cut. In terms of front coverage, we like to make sure all the bits and pieces are covered. I would say it's medium to full in the front. I've seen better, but I'm personally not going to be at risk of losing anything down there. It's nice to have the side ties. They do have little metal aglets here that actually say POPFLEX on them. Keep in mind, these can get a little bit hot, you know, in the sun. And then in the back, these are ultra cheeky, like the name suggests. The ruching does allow them to kind of like sit between the cheeks a little bit and not give you that kind of diaper butt, but I do feel like, you know, you move a little bit and you're basically getting full on thong. Like it's pretty minimal coverage. Personally, I do prefer a little bit more coverage. I like a little cheekiness, but I do feel like this is just gonna all go right up into my cheeks right away. I will say they don't feel like they are going to roll at all because they have that little seam and they're also not cutting into me anywhere. So very well done if this is the kind of bottom you're looking for. Personally, I prefer their kind of like cheeky high leg style they have on the website. I didn't get it this time because I've reviewed it in the past, but I do think this is a good option if you like a more minimalist bottom. One more thing to note about the top, especially in this ribbed material, is it's all very opaque, especially with the bottoms since they are all lined. Actually, most every piece is lined, but even with the single lined ribbed pieces, it's a very opaque swimwear. So you shouldn't have to worry about anything shearing out in the water. All right, and it's actually my first time trying the Sand Dollar surf shorts. So they launched these surf shorts last year. Like I said, it's cheeky, slightly less cheeky, and then full boy short. I feel like these are just not gonna be for my body type. I very quickly can be taken into the toddler territory. When it comes to swim bottoms like this, they just have me looking like a child, and that's just not the look I want to go for, but I still wanted to be able to review these for you guys. These are going to be quite high rise. This is just going to be an interesting look. Again, maybe not for me, but maybe for someone else. Good coverage on there, and okay, see, look. All right, we have the hygiene liner on these shorts. Should I be concerned that these ones did not have the hygiene liner? I feel like that's kind of annoying for like if you're like trying something on and you don't know whether you want to return it or not. If it doesn't have the hygiene liner, then they may not accept the return, which is just interesting. I'm sure if you message them, it would be okay, but I just found that kind of weird. Anyways, we have an ultra high rise. Definitely looks like a lower cut leg line, which is not super flattering on me, but some people like that. These do have pockets. Again, if POPFLEX can get a pocket on something, they're gonna put a pocket on something. For me, I feel like pockets are maybe like a little bit risky in swimwear because like you're gonna put your phone in it and then jump in the pool. I don't know, but there's plenty of things you could put in your pockets. I don't know, if you're in the ocean, you find a cute shell, put it in your pocket, perhaps. This just has a seam straight down the back. There is a little seam at the top as well. And this is lined with that little palm tree pattern. Let's try them on. All right. This is our fullest coverage option for a two-piece. Like if you wear this together, you can still have a two-piece, which personally I find a two-piece more comfortable than a one-piece because I have a long torso and one-pieces they're just not comfortable for me, but you are still fully covered. So looking at the rise here, they go all the way to the smallest point of my waist. So nice high rise. There is a little seam at the top, but I'm not getting any cutting in. It's made of that textured rib material lined with that little palm tree lining. So super opaque. There are seams all the way along the bottom and the top, which normally stops rolling. For some reason, the way these are fitting on me, I am getting this kind of awkward rolling at the front here, which I just don't love. Normally the seams prevent that. So it was just a little interesting that that's happening. It could just be my body shape. And we have the pockets. I'm kind of curious if a phone will fit in the pockets. Again, I wouldn't recommend putting a phone in there because you don't want to jump in the water with your phone, but okay. Actually, yeah, a phone fits perfectly. I mean, sometimes people just wear swimsuits and they don't actually go in the water. You know, sometimes you're just not getting your hair wet. But I think the pocket could be useful for something like if all you're bringing is like a key and you want to keep that safe, you know, you could have a pocket. So I do appreciate the pocket. We are full coverage in the back. I do think it kind of makes my butt look like a pancake. So not super flattering, but not everyone's looking for that. Sometimes you're just looking for coverage. So I definitely appreciate having the coverage option. You do get like a teeny bit of cheek, but I would say it's like really not too bad. There is a seam down the back as well, but again, still kind of giving pancake. And then the front coverage is full. So what do you guys think of the boy shorts? All right, I guess we're doing two pieces first and then we'll get into one pieces at the end. This is the Maiden Bikini top in the color Poppy. I got a size small and this was $46. And this feels similar to the style of swimsuit they had last year. Actually kind of looks like the Milkmaid style top. Okay, Maiden, Milkmaid. I'm getting the connections because this is the Blogilates Target top that launched basically at the same time as this. So I can definitely see the crossover inspo there. This is the top that I feel like could benefit from having different cup sizes because while the coverage doesn't look too bad, there's just no like projection at the side. And I feel like that might just like squish me a little bit, but we'll see. I do also feel like the straps look very wide on this one. So anyways, we have this Milkmaid style front detail. This top is actually not made of the ribbed swim fabric. It's just in 89% nylon, 11% spandex, kind of sleek feeling swim, but it doesn't look shiny. It has this nice gathered detail and also has a true tie in the front so you can kind of cinch it up. There is a little tiny elastic along the bottom here, and I don't think that this one has any cup pads. Oh, does it? Okay, this one actually leaves a space for cup pads, but it just has the nip cushion layer, as opposed to the Tankini that actually had the nip cushion layer and the cup pads. We have these thick tank straps. In the past, these have not been my favorite style of strap. It's just kind of a lot of fabric and doesn't really give a lot of lift and tends to kind of fall off. So I hope that those are not too wide. And then you have a lace-up area at the back that gives you some adjustability, which is nice. Let's try it on. All right, here's the Maiden top. Also, we're switching to filming in the corner. Let me know if you like corner or flat wall better. Any feedback is appreciated. We do have a plant here to kind of give some livelihood back here. But this set together, so much more flattering. Like I finally feel like myself in this set. Love the Milkmaid style. And in contrast with the Milkmaid style that she did in some of the Blogilates pieces from Target, this one has more of a peekaboo opening, which I feel like is more swim appropriate, so it's very cute. Definitely more of a bandeau shape, but more coverage than most POPFLEX sports bras, I would say. So happy with the coverage. I'd say, again, medium to full coverage. Because I could tie the strap here, I feel like I could kind of cinch myself in up there, and I don't feel like I'm falling out of the top, which some of the Milkmaid tops in the Blogilates Target collection, I did feel like I was falling out of the top. So I feel secure. Like, honestly, kind of a medium support for the top, which for swim, I'd say is pretty good. And then we get to the problem with this one. We can already see these straps just want to be out of the equation. I really don't like a top where the straps just feel like an afterthought. And these straps 100% feel like an afterthought. They're so wide. And I think I had the same issue with POPFLEX Swim last year. The straps are just so wide that there's just no chance of these staying up. So I really want them to fix their straps because first of all, plain fabric straps just don't do it for me. I like there to be like an an encased elastic. Like, this is a workout brand. You know how to make a proper strap. So let's see some proper straps on the swimsuits, because these little fabric straps just don't do anything. And this top had so much potential. It's actually so flattering that the straps just ruin it, which is upsetting. So yeah, bummer on the straps. I also forgot to mention the nip cushion layer actually feels pretty substantial. And I feel like with the combination of the ruching and the nip cushion layer, we should be okay in terms of this top not having the cup pads. So again, for activewear, I do prefer having the cup pads, but the ruche detailing does kind of add a little bit of extra thickness, so I think it works. And then in the back, we do have that corset detailing, so you can cinch it, make it a little bit tighter. It is true to size. If you're in between smaller cup sizes, size down, larger size up, again, you have that corset in the back that makes it a little bit adjustable. To go with that top, I have the Sunset Swim Skort with built-in bikini bottoms. So I was very intrigued to try this because it just looked like something I haven't seen on the swim market before. Honestly, the swim material here is just like not really giving swim. It actually has a brushed look to it. Like, it feels and looks like activewear. Here is the material on the outside. You can just see it has a little bit of a brushed feel to it. This is honestly something that I feel like I wouldn't know if it would hold up unless I wore it for like weeks and weeks in the ocean, which is just not possible within the time frame of my reviews. But just kind of interesting. I think I do prefer the ribbed material a little bit more. So I saw in one of her videos that this was kind of meant to mimic a sarong style. So those little pieces of fabric that you just kind of tie at the hip. They give you some cheek coverage in the back, but also just kind of like ruche on the sides and have a little tie detail. So we have this little twist here. We do have a little seam at the top, but again, it's kind of pushed a little bit away from the edge. So maybe it won't cut in too much. We also have some ruched detailing at the side. It's just kind of elasticated, kind of like a hidden scrunch, but on the side of the hips. Okay, then the inside of the swimsuit actually does feel like a traditional swim material. It has that kind of like nylon, slightly sleek feel. So it's interesting that the outer material is different. With something like a swim skirt like that, I just don't know like how the drape's gonna be after it gets wet. We do have the hygiene liner on this one. Looks like pretty good coverage on the bottom. And the inner coverage looks to be like a moderate full coverage as well, which is nice to see, especially on a bottom that's trying to be a little bit more modest. So let's try it on. Okay, here is the skirt. I actually think that this is one of the cutest swim skirts I've seen. Again, I'm not really a swim skirt girly, but because this is kind of mimicking a sarong, I do kind of like that style. It's just not super full coverage or anything. I just think overall that this set is just a lot more flattering on me than the other set. Because again, I think this whole set just kind of highlights the waist a little bit more with this detail here. And I just get a little bit more leg compared to those boy shorts. So anyways, let's talk about the skirt. The rise, I would say, is kind of mid to high in the front, but it does go to a true high rise at the small of the waist from the sides and the back. Again, I'm a little unsure of the material. It kind of feels like an active material. Like, it kind of feels like the Target Blogilates material. It is a little bit brushed, so it just kind of confuses me a little bit. But all of my other POPFlex swim pieces have held up to chlorine and everything, so I'm sure they tested them. We have this little tie front detail. You do see a peep of that inner swimsuit on the left leg there. Again, I just love how it all gathers like that. Then we have the ruche detailing at the side. And then theoretically, you could get kind of full coverage of the back there, but it's not really gonna stay like as soon as you move around because of the side ruching and the slippery material of the swimsuit on the bottom. It is going to start riding up a little bit and create this little ruching of the fabric in the back. So it is meant to be like a mini skirt. It's just still giving you that glute coverage. But I still would consider this overall a full coverage for the bottoms, even if you lean over and you see a little bit down there. It is a swimsuit. Anyways, let's talk about the coverage of the inner bikini bottoms. I think that this is a very solid inner bikini bottom shape. We definitely have full front coverage. It even goes onto my legs a little bit on the bottom there. And it also feels very secure along the bottom. Like, it's not digging in too much, but I can just tell it's not moving anywhere. We have seams along the edge that just feel like they're holding on a little bit more than the cheeky bottoms. And then I would consider this like a medium coverage of the inner bikini, which I think is a perfect coverage. And it's about a mid leg line. It's not low, it's not high, but again, you're not really seeing that on the inside. Honestly, this little skirt was what convinced me to review this collection. And I feel like it's really well done. It's very cute. Okay, we are on to one pieces. We have the Sea Maiden Ruffle one piece. So the Sea Maiden top was made of a smooth fabric, and the Sea Maiden one piece is back to that ribbed fabric. So I do prefer the ribbed material. We have that kind of milkmaid style front with the true tie, and again, nip cushion layer, but only a space for pads and not actual pads. On some of their tops, they just put the nip cushion layer and they don't leave any space for pads. So I like that they added the space for them. Even though I prefer when pads are included, I understand if they're not going to be included if you already have a nip cushion layer. Again, the fabric straps, which I'm not too excited to see. Corset style detail in the back that helps with some adjustability. I think they also used to have a long torso version for their one pieces. They did not have that this time, but I could be making that up. And then we have this little ruffle detail along the hem of the swimsuit. This is one of those design choices that I personally wouldn't have done. It's just not really my style. Again, some of her pieces do lean a little bit juvenile, but at least it's fun. So let's try it on. All right, the POPFLEX not making things for tall people saga continues because this one piece is just not fitting me at all. I'm surprised I'm even standing here, but let me just tell you, the back of this one piece is straight up the cheeks, and this front layer here is way lower than it should be, but if I pulled it up, I would be experiencing pain in the back. So I don't know what delusion I had to make me think that this may work for me, but I swear I tried a POPFLEX one piece both last year and the year before, and I feel like they weren't this bad. But for my tall girlies, this isn't for us. For my shorter torso girlies, potentially it could work. So we have the Milkmaid style top area. It does have the knit cushion layer. It's made of the ribbed material, which I do prefer. You can see this is just hitting me a lot lower than the Milkmaid style bikini top. This seam should be about an inch above just to provide more lift. Unfortunately, we still have the straight up and down fabric tank straps that I just don't really like. They're a little bit too wide. The only saving grace here is because they're pulled so tight because my torso is so long that they're not falling down. But if they were kind of where they should be, they would definitely fall down. So again, I would like to see some different straps. It actually does fit well in the waist. Normally I get gaping in one pieces. This is actually fine. We have the little ruffle detail kind of growing on me, honestly. I feel like it's cute. The front coverage, I feel like it's only medium. Like I do feel like if I moved around certain ways, we may have problems in the front area. I do think my height is a major contributing factor to that. It's almost lunchtime and Peach is letting me know that she wants some lunch. They've been loving my new room setup. They spend like 90% of their time in here. All right, leg cut is ultra high. It literally goes almost all the way to my belly button. I think mostly because, again, it's just too short for me, but it is meant to be a high cut leg, which I love a high cut leg. Gives you nice and elongated leg lines. And then I'm gonna try to get some coverage in the back here, but it is super cheeky and literally I moved just a little bit and it goes like right up the cheeks. Again, that's mostly due to my torso height. As I'm turning away, it's literally just fully up the cheeks in the back. This is why I don't do one pieces, guys. I feel like two pieces are so nice because you never get this kind of tension and just feel like you can get good coverage with two pieces as well. So, oh, Pinto just attacked Peach, in case you guys were wondering. So unfortunately, this one's a no for me. I do think the neon is super cute. Okay, and our last piece is the Sunshine Swim dress. They did a romper last year, but I think this is our first swim dress. So they're really leaning into the whole like skirt and dress thing. And again, this feels and looks like activewear, but I feel like mine looks like it already has like, I'm almost 100% sure this is going to pill. If we look up close at the fabric here, you can just see like everything's just a little bit pilly already. And I just don't know about that for a swimwear material. Okay, clearly leaning into this Milkmaid style. Again, we have nip cushion, space for pads, but no pads. And we have the tie front. Much prefer the straps here. We have spaghetti straps, but they're adjustable. So I prefer a tank strap, but I prefer an adjustable strap even more. We have that adjustable back. I really appreciate that, especially for one pieces because they tend to gape on my waist. So this is very short, but it is a swim dress. So as long as it kind of covers me, I'm good. We do have little side tie details so you can kind of ruche it up at the sides. And we do have that inner bodysuit. Looks like good coverage there. It's made of that lining material that has the little palm trees. There is a little seam at the edge there as well. Let's try it on. I think some of the issues are my torso here, but I just feel like this is just not a flattering dress. So again, we do have the Milkmaid style. This is not causing me any problems. Medium coverage, low to medium support like all the others. Love the addition of the adjustable straps on this one. They're not falling off. You can see just how much further they sit on my shoulder. Like they're actually sitting like where my collarbone is, not all the way out to the end here so they can just fall off. So I do feel secure with the straps. The material on this just doesn't feel right. It actually just feels rough. And again, the cats want lunch. So I picked up Peach and it's actually really holding on to pet fur. And I never thought I would have to worry about a swimsuit not being pet fur friendly, but this is holding on to pet fur and just doesn't really feel like it's gonna be good for swimming. Then we have the overall shape of this one. I don't think this is going to be flattering. Like with the Tankini, didn't love it on my body type, but I think a lot of women would look for a style like this. I don't really see this being flattering on anyone. I think if you carry any weight in your midsection, this is just gonna highlight that like no other. I do not feel confident at all in this one piece. I feel like it's just highlighting all the wrong places. I don't love a bodycon dress to begin with. And this one's like loose where I want it to be tight and like tight where I want it to be loose. We do have the side ties. I didn't tie them on this side and I did ruche them on this side. It's supposed to have a little ruching here, but I don't really feel like it's given any relief to the lower abdomen area. And I just feel like from the back, it It looks like I'm not wearing any bottoms, and I just don't think that's super cute. Like if you're a little shorter, you may be able to pull it down, but if you move it all, it's just gonna ride back up. So I don't know, guys, am I crazy? Look, comment down below if you think that this is a style you would look for. Maybe I'm just like missing something. And then we do have the swimsuit on the inside. This fits very well, actually. First of all, I love this material on the inside. You could tell it's going to be very swim friendly. About medium coverage in the front, could use a little bit more coverage down there. I felt like the bottoms, I felt like the bikini bottoms were a little bit better. Medium coverage on the side, and then about medium coverage in the back. We do have a seam at the bottom, but it's really holding it in place well. So I feel like the inner bottoms are good. But yeah, I just feel like this is doing nothing for me. So I decided to take advantage of the pool in my community and do a little water test for the tankini and the swim skirt. I chose those two pieces because the tankini had the ribbed fabric that I felt like would be good for performance in the water, just in terms of not holding on to too much water. But I also wanted to see how it would look after it was wet, if it would like cling to the body in weird ways. And then I wanted to try the swim skirt because one, I also wanted to see if it would cling to the body in weird ways. But two, I was very curious about how this like brushed swimwear material would perform in the water. So I have little before and after clips for you guys before I got into the water, after I got into the water. And in terms of appearances and how they clung to the body, I felt like the tankini did way better than I thought. It actually was still draping and still had good flow to it, even after being completely wet. Like I literally completely submerged my body, not my hair obviously, into the water and did not dry off at all. They were still completely saturated with the water, and I felt like the tankini did really well. So I think that ribbed material is definitely swim approved. The swim skirt, I felt like it still looked pretty good. It was definitely clinging to me a little bit more, but it was a tighter fit to begin with compared to the tankini. But after I hopped in the water, I waited for about 15 minutes after to see how they would dry. And I felt like the rib material, while it was still wet after 15 minutes, it didn't feel like sopping and it wasn't still holding on to a lot of water. But the skirt material was still like dripping wet after 15 minutes. And I did do like a little towel dry, so it was still holding on to a ton of water. This is why I wasn't sure about the brushed material. And then I did a little close up of the fabric after the swim, and I just feel like as soon as you put that in the washer dryer, it's gonna pill. Like it literally already looks like it's pilling. And that's just so weird for a swim material. So for this collection, I definitely would be sticking to the ribbed material pieces. Okay guys, that is all the pieces for the 2025 POPFLEX Swim Collection, at least that I tried. They do have more pieces, but these were the ones that I felt like intrigued me the most. I feel like honestly, none of the pieces were perfect. I think my favorite piece was that little swim skirt. Again, I'm not one for a swim skirt, but I actually felt like it still flattered my figure and didn't just like cover up in an awkward way. I did like the little sea maiden top, but the straps kind of ruined it for me. And if it flattered my body type, I would love the tankini. Something scared Pinto and his tail's puppy. What was it, kid? What was it? And lastly, the swim dress that I'm still wearing. I think this was just overall a flop. I'm not understanding the fabric, the fit, the style. It just is confusing to me. So again, let me know your feedback on my background. Do we like the corner, the wall, or the closet? Let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.